Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance, watching the stars streak past as her ship approached the neutral moon of Kepler 442c. The massive view screen showed their destination growing larger with each passing minute. It looked peaceful enough, just a gray rock floating in space. But Sarah had learned not to trust peaceful appearances during 3 years of brutal war with the Galactic Hegemony. "Admiral, we're receiving the landing coordinates from the alien delegation," reported Lieutenant Kim from the communications station. "They want us to land at the ceremonial platform they've constructed on the surface." Sarah nodded but kept her eyes on the screen. Something about this whole situation felt wrong. The hegemony had been losing the war badly. Human ships had outfought them at every turn. Human tactics had confused their ancient military minds, and human technology had advanced faster than they could adapt. So why were they suddenly offering such generous peace terms? "Commander Torres, what's our intelligence report on enemy activity in this system?" Sarah asked her intelligence officer. Commander Miguel Torres stepped forward, his face grim. "That's what worries me, Admiral. We've detected unusual movement patterns from hegemony fleets over the past week. Ships moving toward this sector from 12 different systems. They claim it's for the ceremony, but the numbers don't match what they told us." Sarah frowned. The peace treaty negotiations had been going on for 2 months. The aliens had been surprisingly eager to meet, especially considering they had been the ones to start this war by attacking human colony ships 3 years ago. They claimed they wanted to end the fighting and establish permanent peace between their species and humanity. "And the energy readings from their ships?" Sarah pressed. "Strange, Admiral. Much higher than normal for diplomatic vessels. Almost like they're powering weapon systems, but their signatures are masked somehow." Torres pulled up a holographic display showing the alien fleet positions. "There are also some gaps in our sensor data. Areas where we should be detecting their ships but aren't seeing anything." Dr. Elena Vasquez, the team's xenolinguist and cultural expert, looked up from her translation pad. "Admiral, I've been reviewing the ceremony protocols they sent us. There are some inconsistencies with what we know about hegemony diplomatic traditions. Small things, but they add up." "What kind of inconsistencies?" Sarah asked. "Well, for example, they're insisting that all our senior officers attend the surface ceremony. In previous diplomatic meetings, they usually preferred smaller delegations. And they've requested that we bring no recording devices, claiming it's for security. But hegemony culture usually celebrates the recording of important treaties." Sarah felt the familiar tingle of danger that had kept her alive through dozens of space battles. Her instincts were screaming that this was a trap, but she had no proof. Earth Command had ordered her to pursue peace if possible. The war was taking a heavy toll on human resources even though they were winning. "What about their military leaders?" Sarah asked. "Are they all going to be present?" Torres nodded. "Every major hegemony commander will be at the ceremony. All 12 species are sending their top military officials. It's unprecedented." That made Sarah even more suspicious. Why would the enemy gather all their leadership in one place during peace negotiations? It either showed incredible trust or incredible arrogance. Given that humanity had been winning the war, she doubted it was trust. "Admiral, we have a message from Earth Command," Lieutenant Kim announced. "They're confirming our orders to proceed with the peace negotiations. They emphasize the importance of ending this war diplomatically." Sarah understood the pressure from Earth. The war had been expensive and bloody, even though humans were winning. Peace would allow humanity to rebuild and explore the galaxy, without constantly looking over their shoulders. But every tactical instinct she had developed over 20 years of military service was telling her, this was wrong. "Torres, what's the status of our escort fleet?" "Hidden in the asteroid belt as ordered, Admiral. 12 ships all running silent. The aliens shouldn't be able to detect them unless they get very close." Sarah had insisted on bringing military backup, despite Earth Command's preference for a purely diplomatic mission. She had argued that showing strength during negotiations was important for gaining respect from the hegemony. In reality, she had wanted protection in case things went wrong. "And our own ship's weapons status?" "All systems are online and ready, Admiral. Though we're supposed to be a diplomatic vessel, we're carrying enough firepower to level a small city." Torres smiled grimly. "The aliens know we're armed, but they probably don't know how heavily." The Defiance was officially a diplomatic cruiser, but Sarah had made sure it was equipped with the latest human military technology. The ship looked peaceful enough from the outside, but its hull contained some of humanity's most advanced weapons. She believed in diplomatic solutions, but she also believed in being prepared for the worst. Dr. Vasquez, have you finished analyzing their language patterns in the recent communications? The xenolinguist nodded. I've been studying their word choices and syntax. There's something strange about their recent messages. They're using very formal language, almost ceremonial. It reminds me of the communication patterns we saw before major military operations during the war. Ceremonial how? Like they're preparing for something final. The way they phrase certain sentences suggests they think this meeting will resolve everything permanently, but their emotional indicators are wrong for a species that's accepting defeat. Sarah absorbed this information. The aliens had been fighting humans for 3 years and losing steadily. Human innovation and adaptability had proven superior to the hegemony's ancient military traditions. Human ships were faster, human tactics were more creative, and human technology advanced at a pace that left the aliens struggling to keep up. So why did they seem confident about this meeting? Admiral, we're receiving clearance to land, Kim reported. The aliens are requesting that we proceed directly to the ceremonial platform. Sarah made her decision. Torres, send a coded message to our escort fleet. Tell them to maintain position and be ready for anything. If something goes wrong down there, I want them prepared to act immediately. Yes, Admiral. And activate all our defensive systems. Keep them hidden. But I want us ready for combat at a moment's notice. Sarah turned to address her senior staff. I know Earth Command wants this peace treaty, and so do I. War is expensive and dangerous for everyone involved. But something about this situation doesn't feel right. The enemy is being too cooperative, too eager to meet. They're bringing too many military leaders and asking us to do things that don't match their usual diplomatic behavior. She paused, looking at each of her officers. We're going down there to negotiate in good faith. We're going to try to end this war peacefully, but we're also going to be ready for trouble. Trust your instincts, watch for anything unusual, and remember that sometimes the best diplomatic tool is a very big gun. The ship shuddered slightly as it entered the moon's atmosphere. Through the view screen, Sarah could see the alien ceremonial platform growing larger. It was an impressive structure, built in a perfect circle with representatives from all 12 hegemony species arranged around the edges. Thousands of alien beings were present, all watching as the human ship approached. It looked like a celebration of peace. But to Sarah's experienced eye, it looked like something else entirely. It looked like a trap. Beginning final approach to the landing platform, announced the pilot. Sarah straightened her dress uniform and checked her sidearm one last time. Remember, people, we're here to make peace. But we're humans, and humans always have a backup plan. The ceremonial platform was even more impressive up close. Admiral Sarah Chen led her delegation across the polished stone surface, noting how the 12 hegemony species had arranged themselves in perfect formation around a central signing area. Each alien group had brought what appeared to be ceremonial weapons, laid down in neat rows as symbols of their peaceful intentions. Dr. Elena Vasquez walked beside Sarah, her translation device picking up dozens of alien languages being spoken simultaneously. The babel of voices created a constant background hum that should have felt celebratory. Instead, it made Elena nervous. Admiral, she whispered. Something's wrong with their speech patterns. What do you mean? Sarah asked quietly, maintaining her diplomatic smile as they approached the central platform. They're not talking like beings who are about to sign a peace treaty. The emotional indicators in their voices suggest they're excited about something else entirely. Sarah nodded slightly, not wanting to alert the aliens to her concerns. She had noticed other troubling details as well. The Zephyrian delegate, a tall, blue-skinned humanoid, kept checking what appeared to be a small device attached to his wrist. Every few seconds he would glance at it and then look toward the sky. Commander Torres, walking slightly behind them, had his hand resting casually near his weapon. His enhanced hearing was picking up sounds that the others couldn't detect. Admiral, he said through their private communication channel, I'm hearing subsonic communications between the alien groups. They're coordinating something. The human delegation reached the signing platform, where an ornate table had been set up with the peace treaty documents. The papers were written in both human languages and the various alien scripts, thick documents that had taken months to negotiate. Sarah approached the table, noting how eager the alien representatives seemed. High Commander Zektar of the Kronar Empire stepped forward to greet her. The massive reptilian being towered over Sarah, his scaled hide gleaming in the artificial lighting. Admiral Chen, he said in heavily accented English, we are pleased that humanity has chosen the path of peace. As are we, High Commander, Sarah replied diplomatically. This war has been costly for all of us. Dr. Vasquez was studying the ceremonial weapons that each species had laid down. Something about them bothered her, but she couldn't immediately identify what. She activated her scanner discreetly, running it over the nearest collection of Zephyrian energy rifles. The results made her heart skip a beat. The weapons were fake, not just ceremonial versions of real weapons, but complete non-functional replicas. She quickly scanned the weapons from other species and found the same thing. None of the ceremonial weapons were real. Meanwhile, Commander Torres was getting increasingly disturbed by what his enhanced hearing was picking up. The subsonic communications between alien groups were becoming more frequent and more coordinated. His translation implant was struggling to process the rapid, quiet exchanges, but certain words were becoming clear. Containment. 30 seconds. No survivors. Fleet positions confirmed. Torres felt ice form in his stomach. He activated his emergency communicator and sent a coded signal to the human escort fleet hidden in the asteroid belt. It was a simple message. Standby. Possible hostile action imminent. Sarah was reviewing the treaty documents when she noticed another concerning detail. The High Commander kept glancing at the same chronometer that the Zephyrian delegate was watching. In fact, as she looked around, she realized that several of the alien leaders were checking timing devices. High Commander, she said pleasantly, is there a specific time we need to complete this ceremony? Zektar's expression didn't change, but Sarah caught a flicker of something in his eyes. No, Admiral. We simply wish to complete this historic moment efficiently. Dr. Vasquez moved closer to Sarah. Admiral, I need to report something urgently, she said in a low voice. Before she could elaborate, Sarah's enhanced hearing picked up something that made her blood run cold. The subsonic communications between alien groups had shifted to a countdown sequence. Her neural implant automatically translated the words, activation in 10 seconds. Ensure complete containment. No human must survive to warn their fleet. Sarah's mind raced. Containment, no survivors. Warning their fleet. This wasn't a peace ceremony at all. It was an execution. She looked around with new eyes and suddenly understood what she was seeing. The perfect circular arrangement of alien forces wasn't ceremonial at all. It was tactical. The raised platform wasn't for dignity. It was to ensure that humans would be in the center of whatever was about to happen. Torres, she whispered into her communicator, how long until our escort can reach us? Too long, Admiral. At least 15 minutes even at maximum speed. Then we're on our own. The countdown in the alien communications reached 0. Suddenly, a massive energy field sprang up around the entire ceremonial area. Sarah felt the air itself become thick and charged as the containment field activated. The field rose high into the sky, creating a glowing dome that trapped the human delegation inside with all the alien representatives. High Commander Zektar smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. Admiral Chen, I'm afraid there has been a change in our plans. Around the platform, the alien representatives were no longer bothering to maintain their peaceful pretense. Weapons appeared in their hands as if by magic, and their body language shifted to aggressive postures. You see, Zektar continued, we have studied your species extensively during this war. We know your weaknesses. You are sentimental about your leaders. You would never bring overwhelming force to a peace negotiation. You believe in honor and good faith. Sarah kept her expression calm despite the fury building inside her. And you believe in treachery. We believe in survival, Zektar replied. Your species has proven more adaptable than we anticipated. Your technology advances too quickly. Your tactical thinking is too unpredictable. You must be eliminated before you become a true threat to galactic order. Dr. Vasquez was scanning the energy field surrounding them. Admiral, this containment system is incredibly advanced. It's designed to hold even our most powerful ships. There's no way out. Commander Torres was monitoring communications from outside the field. Admiral, I'm detecting massive fleet movements. Hegemony ships are decloaking throughout the system. Thousands of them. Sarah felt pieces of the puzzle clicking into place. They used the peace negotiations to get our leadership in one place, and now they're going to eliminate us while their fleet attacks Earth and our colonies. Precisely, Zektar confirmed. We have analyzed every human tactical doctrine. We know how your species responds to crises. With your leadership eliminated and your main fleet here, your remaining forces will be confused and disorganized. Easy prey for our armada. Sarah looked around at her trapped delegation. Torres was ready for a fight but outnumbered 50-1. Dr. Vasquez was still scanning for weaknesses in their prison. The other human officers were drawing their weapons but facing impossible odds. You know what your problem is, High Commander? Sarah said, her voice steady despite their situation. What is that, Admiral? Sarah smiled. And for the first time since the containment field activated, she looked completely relaxed. You think you know how humans think. But you've made one critical error. And what error is that? Sarah activated her emergency communicator and spoke clearly. Gentlemen, the trap is sprung. Execute Protocol Omega, Zektar frowned. Protocol Omega? We have analyzed all your military protocols. There is no Protocol Omega in your tactical database. Sarah's smile grew wider. That's because Protocol Omega isn't a military protocol, High Commander. It's a human protocol. And the first rule of being human is this. Never go to a peace treaty without bringing enough firepower to end a war. High above them, space began to explode into activity as the asteroid belt revealed its true nature. High Commander Zektar's confident expression began to falter, as space around the moon erupted in brilliant flashes of light. What he had assumed were asteroids suddenly revealed themselves to be massive weapons platforms, their hulls shedding rocky camouflage like snakes shedding skin. Impossible, Zektar hissed, his reptilian features twisting in confusion. Our sensors detected no fleet of that size. Admiral Sarah Chen watched through the containment field as the space battle began above them. That's because you were looking for ships, High Commander. We brought something better. Commander Torres was monitoring the tactical display on his wrist unit, grinning despite their trapped situation. Admiral, the hegemony fleet is in complete chaos. They're detecting over 200 human vessels where they expected maybe a dozen escort ships. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her scanner readings. How is that possible? We only brought 12 ships as escorts. Sarah's smile was cold as winter. We brought 12 ships, yes. But we also brought something else. Something we've been working on for the past year, while you aliens thought you understood human psychology. The largest of the asteroids was now clearly visible as a massive human vessel, easily 3 times the size of any ship in the hegemony fleet. Energy weapons that defied known physics were tearing through alien battlecruisers like paper. You see, Sarah continued, her voice carrying clearly across the silent platform as aliens and humans alike watched the battle above. You made a fundamental error about human nature. You assumed we think like you do. You assumed we would follow the same patterns you've used for thousands of years. Zektar was frantically speaking into his own communicator, trying to coordinate his fleet's response to the unexpected human force, but his ships were being destroyed faster than he could give orders. You studied our military history, Sarah said, walking closer to the alien commander despite still being trapped in the energy field. You analyzed our tactics from the past 3 years of war. You thought you knew how we would respond to your trap. Above them, something even more impossible was happening. The massive human vessel was beginning to change shape, unfolding like a metal flower. Sections that had appeared to be armor plating were revealing themselves to be manufacturing bays. As they watched, new ships began emerging from the larger vessel's hull. What you didn't understand, Sarah continued, is that humans adapt. Every time you learned our patterns, we developed new ones. Every time you countered our tactics, we invented different tactics. And when you planned this trap, we planned a bigger trap. Dr. Vasquez was staring at her scanner in amazement. Admiral, that ship, it's not just a warship. It's a mobile shipyard. It's building new combat vessels in real time. The UES Prometheus, Sarah said proudly. Our first truly autonomous manufacturing vessel. It can convert raw materials into combat-ready ships in under an hour. The asteroids you thought we were hiding behind? We fed them into the Prometheus's construction bays. Commander Torres was laughing now as he watched the tactical display. The hegemony ships are trying to retreat, but our new vessels are faster than anything they've ever seen. And Admiral, the Defiance is beginning its transformation sequence, Sarah nodded. Which brings us to the second thing you misunderstood about humans, High Commander. Zektar had stopped trying to coordinate his fleet and was now staring at Sarah with growing horror. What transformation sequence? The one where our peaceful diplomatic vessel reveals its true nature, Sarah said. You see, the Defiance isn't really a diplomatic cruiser. It's humanity's first planet-killer class warship. We just dressed it up to look peaceful for the negotiations. The ship that had carried them to the moon was now shedding its outer hull sections, revealing weapon systems that made the aliens' most advanced technology look primitive. The Defiance had tripled in size as hidden sections extended and massive energy cannons deployed. "You wanted to eliminate human leadership," Sarah said, her voice taking on a harder edge. "You wanted to trap us here while your fleet attacked our colonies. You thought you could wipe out humanity while we were trying to make peace." The containment field was still holding, but now it was working against the aliens as much as the humans. Zektar's forces were trapped inside with their intended victims, while outside, the human fleet was systematically destroying the hegemony armada. "But here's the third thing you got wrong about humans," Sarah continued. "We don't just prepare for the obvious threats. We prepare for the threats we hope never come." Dr. Vasquez was studying new readings on her scanner. "Admiral, the Defiance is targeting the containment field generators, but the energy levels it's building up, that's not just ship-to-ship weaponry." "No, it's not," Sarah agreed. "Those are reality displacement cannons. They don't just destroy matter, Dr. Vasquez, they remove it from existence entirely." Zektar's eyes widened in terror. In all his centuries of warfare, he had never encountered weapons that could simply erase things from reality. That technology is forbidden by every galactic treaty. "By your treaties," Sarah corrected. "Humans never signed those treaties. We've been developing whatever technology we needed to survive. And when you declared war on us, we decided we needed to be very, very good at making our enemies stop existing. Above them, hegemony ships weren't just exploding anymore. They were simply vanishing, leaving empty space where massive battlecruisers had been moments before. The alien fleet, which had numbered in the thousands, was being reduced to nothing with terrifying efficiency. Commander Torres checked his communications array. "Admiral, we're receiving surrender requests from 17 different hegemony commanders. The remainder of their fleet is attempting to flee the system. Tell them that surrender is no longer an option," Sarah said coldly. "They chose to make this about extinction. We're simply better at it than they are." Zektar was backing away from Sarah, his reptilian features pale with fear. "You cannot do this. We are the hegemony! We have ruled this galaxy for millennia, and you've just been replaced," Sarah replied. "The fourth thing you misunderstood about humans is that we don't just fight wars. We end them. Permanently." The Defiance fired its main weapon at the containment field generators. The energy beam that lanced down from orbit didn't just destroy the alien technology, it caused it to cease existing on a fundamental level. The containment field collapsed instantly. "You wanted to see humanity's real weapons?" Sarah asked as her delegation finally drew their own arms. "You've been fighting the practice version of our military for 3 years. What you're seeing now is what we build when we stop playing games." The alien representatives on the platform were realizing that their trap had become their tomb. The humans they had intended to execute were now free, armed, and backed by a fleet that was demonstrating the ability to delete matter from reality. The peace treaty was indeed a trap. "Hi, Commander," Sarah said as she drew her sidearm. "But it wasn't your trap. It was ours. We needed to get all your leadership in one place, and we needed your fleet to reveal itself completely. Thank you for making that so easy." Zektar raised his hands in surrender, but Sarah shook her head. "Too late for that. You declared this a war of extinction. We're just better at extinction than you are." The battle above was nearly over. Of the massive hegemony fleet that had revealed itself to destroy humanity, only scattered debris remained. And on the moon's surface, the real negotiations were about to begin. The silence on the ceremonial platform was broken only by the distant rumble of explosions as the last hegemony ships died in space above them. Admiral Sarah Chen stood facing High Commander Zektar and the surviving alien leadership, her weapon drawn but not yet fired. "The battle is over," Commander Torres reported, checking his tactical display. "All hegemony military vessels in the system have been destroyed or have fled. Total human casualties, 0. Dr. Vasquez was recording everything with her equipment, documenting the moment when the galactic balance of power shifted permanently. "Admiral, I'm detecting emergency transmissions from hegemony worlds throughout the galaxy. They're receiving word about what happened here." Sarah nodded but kept her eyes on Zektar. "Good. Let them know exactly what happens when someone tries to genocide humanity." The alien commander's reptilian features were twisted with a mixture of fear and rage. "You have no idea what you've done, human. The hegemony maintains order across thousands of worlds. Without us, the galaxy will descend into chaos. Order built on fear and oppression, Sarah replied. We've been monitoring your communications for months, Zektar. We know about the slave worlds, the tribute systems, the species you've crushed under your boot for centuries. Commander Torres stepped forward, his weapon trained on a group of Zephyrian officers who were attempting to reach their communication devices. Admiral, should I allow them to contact their fleets? Let them try, Sarah said with grim amusement. They'll find that their command structure is somewhat compromised at the moment. What the aliens didn't know was that the human attack had been far more comprehensive than just the fleet engagement above the moon. While the Prometheus had been manufacturing new warships and the Defiance had been revealing its true nature, other human vessels had been executing coordinated strikes across the galaxy. Dr. Vasquez looked up from her communication array. Admiral, we're receiving confirmation reports from Operation Clean Sweep, Human. Special forces have successfully captured or eliminated hegemony command centers on 47 worlds. Simultaneously, Zektar's eyes widened in horror. Impossible. Those facilities are heavily guarded, hidden from outside detection. Hidden from outside detection by people who don't know where to look, Sarah corrected. But every cultural exchange program we've had with your species over the past year included intelligence operatives. Every trade negotiation included reconnaissance teams. Every diplomatic meeting included espionage specialists. The truth was even more devastating than the aliens could have imagined. While they had been planning their trap for humanity's leadership, humans had been infiltrating their entire civilization. The peace negotiations hadn't just been a cover for military preparation, they had been a cover for the largest intelligence operation in galactic history. You've been fighting the wrong war, Sarah continued. While you were focused on ship-to-ship combat and traditional military strategies, we were fighting an information war. We mapped your supply lines, identified your command structures, located your hidden bases, and recruited assets among your subject populations. Commander Torres was monitoring multiple communication channels simultaneously. Admiral, we're getting reports from across hegemony space. Their military command is in complete collapse. Most of their senior leadership was either here at this ceremony or at the command centers we just neutralized. Dr. Vasquez added her own disturbing intelligence. I'm intercepting communications from subject species throughout the hegemony. Word is spreading about what happened here. There are already reports of rebellion starting on a dozen worlds. Sarah holstered her weapon, knowing that the real fight was over. The aliens on the platform were no longer a threat. They were prisoners whose empire was crumbling around them while they watched helplessly. The problem with ruling through fear, Sarah explained to Zektar, is that fear only works as long as people believe you're invincible. Once that illusion is broken, the whole system collapses. Above them, the Prometheus was busy converting the wreckage of the hegemony fleet into new human vessels. The ship's manufacturing capabilities were beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen, representing a leap in technology that made human industrial capacity effectively unlimited. How long have you been planning this? Zektar asked, his voice barely a whisper. Since the day you attacked our first colony ship, Sarah replied. You made a mistake that day, Zektar. You assumed that because humans were new to space travel, we would think like other young species. You thought we would be impressed by your ancient empire and submit to your authority. She walked closer to the alien commander, her expression cold. But humans don't submit, we adapt. And when someone tries to destroy us, we become very, very good at destroying them back. Commander Torres looked up from his communications array. Admiral, Earth Command is requesting a status report. Tell them that the hegemony threat has been permanently neutralized, Sarah said. Tell them that humanity now has effective control of this sector of the galaxy, and that we're preparing to extend our protection to any species that wants freedom from hegemony oppression. Dr. Vasquez was documenting the surrender of each alien species present at the ceremony. The Zephyrians had been the first to lay down their weapons, followed quickly by the Andromedans and the Cetacean Council representatives. Only the Kronar were still showing defiance, but even they were beginning to realize the futility of their situation. What will you do with us? Asked Ambassador Veltar of the Zephyrian Federation, her blue skin pale with fear. That depends, Sarah replied. The hegemony as a political entity is finished. Your military power is broken. Your command structure is eliminated and your subject species are in open revolt. But individual species still have choices to make. She gestured toward the tactical display that Torres was projecting. Every species here can choose cooperation or extinction. Work with humanity to build a new galactic order based on freedom and mutual respect, or face the same fate as your military fleet. The display showed the true scope of human capabilities. The Prometheus wasn't just one ship. It was the first of a new class of vessels that could manufacture entire fleets from raw materials. The Defiance wasn't just a disguised warship. It was equipped with weapons that could sterilize entire star systems. You have demonstrated that humans are capable of incredible violence, Veltar said carefully. How do we know you won't become the same kind of oppressors the hegemony was? Sarah considered the question seriously. Because we remember what it was like to be the underdogs. Because we've seen what happens when power is concentrated in the hands of those who use fear to maintain control. And because human nature includes something your species seem to have forgotten. What is that? Empathy, Sarah replied. We can imagine what it's like to be on the other side of oppression because we've been there. The hegemony ruled through fear because that's all they understood. Humans will lead through cooperation because that's how we've always survived. Dr. Vasquez stepped forward with a new set of documents. Admiral, I've prepared preliminary agreements for any species that wants to join the new Galactic Defense Alliance. Terms include complete autonomy for internal affairs, mutual defense agreements, and shared technology development. Sarah took the documents and held them up for the aliens to see. This is what we're offering. True partnership instead of domination, protection instead of tribute, freedom instead of slavery. She looked directly at each alien representative. But understand this clearly. The choice is between partnership and extinction. We will not tolerate any species that tries to restore the old order of oppression. We will not allow any group to threaten the freedom we're offering to the galaxy. The message was clear. Humanity had demonstrated the power to destroy the hegemony completely. Now they were offering an alternative, but it came with an unmistakable warning. Accept freedom or face elimination. The new galactic order was about to begin. 6 months after the Battle of Kepler 442c, Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the UES Defiance, watching as the first ships of the Galactic Defense Alliance conducted joint training exercises. Human vessels flew alongside reformed Zephyrian cruisers, while former hegemony species tested new cooperative tactics under human guidance. Status report, Commander Torres, Sarah requested as her intelligence officer approached. The transition is proceeding better than expected, Admiral, Torres replied, consulting his datapad. 43 former hegemony species have joined the Alliance. Rebellion movements on the remaining oppressed worlds are receiving our support and making significant progress. Dr. Vasquez joined them at the observation window, her translation equipment now modified to handle diplomatic communications from dozens of species simultaneously. The cultural exchanges have been remarkable, Admiral. For the first time in centuries, these species are able to share knowledge freely instead of hiding it from their oppressors. Sarah nodded, but her expression remained serious. And the holdout species? 7 species are still attempting to maintain independence from the Alliance, Torres reported. The Kronar Empire has rebuilt a small fleet and is trying to establish a new dominion in the Outer Rim territories. Let me guess, Sarah said dryly. They think they can succeed where the hegemony failed. Apparently so. High Commander Zektar's successor believes that humans won't intervene if they stay away from Alliance territory. Sarah smiled coldly. They're about to learn why that's a poor assumption. What's the status of the Prometheus fleet? All 12 manufacturing vessels are operational and positioned throughout the galaxy. Each one is capable of producing a full battle group within 72 hours if needed. The Prometheus-class ships had revolutionized galactic warfare and diplomacy. Their ability to convert raw materials into advanced warships meant that humanity could project power anywhere in the galaxy with minimal logistics support. More importantly, it meant that any species contemplating aggression had to consider facing an effectively unlimited human fleet. Dr. Vasquez, how are the liberation operations proceeding? Very well, Admiral. The information networks we established during our intelligence operations are still active. Subject populations throughout former hegemony space know that freedom is possible and that humanity will support their efforts to achieve it. What had made humanity's victory so complete wasn't just military superiority. It was the demonstration that the hegemony's power was an illusion. Once oppressed species realized that their overlords could be defeated, the entire system of fear-based control collapsed. "We're receiving a priority transmission from the Andromedan Republic," Torres announced. "They're requesting immediate assistance with a situation in their home system." Sarah turned from the window. "What kind of situation?" "A Kronar battle fleet has entered Andromedan space and is demanding tribute payments. They claim that since the hegemony is gone, they are the new legitimate authority in this sector. Response time to the Andromedan system? 6 hours at maximum speed. But Admiral, the nearest Prometheus vessel could have a defense fleet ready in 3 hours." Sarah considered her options. The Andromedans had been among the first species to join the Alliance after witnessing humanity's demonstration of power. They were peaceful traders who had suffered under hegemony oppression for generations. Allowing the Kronar to intimidate them would send the wrong message to every species watching the new galactic order take shape. "Contact the Prometheus 7 and order immediate fleet production. I want a full battle group ready to deploy within 2 hours. Then send a message to the Kronar commander." "What message, Admiral?" "Tell them that the Andromedan Republic is under Alliance protection, and they have exactly 1 hour to withdraw from the system before we demonstrate why the hegemony failed." Dr. Vasquez looked concerned. "Admiral, are you sure we want to engage in another military action so soon? Some species might interpret it as human imperialism." Sarah turned back to the window, watching as an Andromedan science vessel shared stellar cartography data with a human exploration ship. "Dr. Vasquez, there's a difference between imperialism and protection. Imperialism is what the hegemony practiced, conquering species to exploit them. Protection is what we're offering, defending freedom so that species can develop naturally." She gestured toward the joint exercises visible outside. "Look at those ships, Doctor. The Zephyrians redesigned their vessels based on human technology, but they made them uniquely Zephyrian. The Cetacean Council adapted our defense systems for their aquatic environments. Each species is becoming stronger while remaining themselves." Torres received confirmation of the Prometheus 7's manufacturing order. "Admiral, Prometheus 7 reports fleet production is underway. They'll have 12 heavy cruisers and 48 fighters ready for deployment in 90 minutes. And the Kronar responds to our message?" "No response yet, Admiral." Sarah wasn't surprised. The Kronar had always been the most aggressive and arrogant of the hegemony species. They probably believed that humanity wouldn't risk another large-scale conflict so soon after the first one. "Dr. Vasquez, have you completed the analysis of Kronar psychology I requested?" "Yes, Admiral. They're hierarchical predators who respect only superior force. Negotiation and compromise are interpreted as weakness. The only way to communicate effectively with them is through demonstrations of overwhelming power." Sarah nodded. She had hoped that the destruction of the hegemony fleet would be sufficient demonstration for all the galaxy's species, but apparently some needed more direct education. "Admiral," Torres announced, "we're receiving the Kronar response now." "Put it through." The communication screen activated, showing a massive reptilian figure in ornate battle armor. General Karthok of the Kronar Imperial Fleet looked every bit as arrogant as his predecessor had been. "Human Admiral," Karthok growled, "you have no authority in this sector. The Andromedans will pay tribute to the Kronar Empire, or they will be conquered. Your alliance has no power here." Sarah stepped into view of the camera. "General Karthok, you have 45 minutes to withdraw your fleet from Andromedan space. After that, you'll discover exactly how much power the alliance has." Karthok's expression showed disdain. "You defeated the weak and corrupt hegemony through trickery and surprise. The Kronar Empire will not fall to such deception. We are ready for your tactics." "General, you're making the same mistake the hegemony made. You think you understand human tactics because you've studied our previous engagements. But humans don't repeat old strategies when new ones work better." The Kronar commander leaned forward aggressively. "What new strategy could you possibly have, human?" Sarah smiled. "We're going to give you exactly what you want, General. A fair fight." Karthok looked confused. "What do you mean?" "You want to test your fleet against human military power. Very well. We'll meet your 12 ships with 12 of our own. No manufacturing vessels, no overwhelming numbers, no reality displacement weapons. Just ship against ship, commander against commander." The alien general's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. "You think your individual ships are superior to Kronar warships? We have been refining our military technology for millennia. And we've been innovating for 3 years, Sarah replied. But you'll find out soon enough. Dr. Vasquez will transmit the coordinates for our engagement. 1 hour from now, 12 of your ships against 12 of ours. After the communication ended, Torres looked concerned. Admiral, are you sure about this? The Kronar do have some of the most advanced military technology among the former hegemony species. Sarah was already heading toward the bridge. Commander, what did we learn about Kronar psychology? That they only respect superior force, and Torres replied, following her. Exactly. And what's the most effective way to demonstrate superior force to a species that prides itself on military prowess? Beat them at their own game, Dr. Vasquez said, understanding dawning in her voice. Precisely. We could overwhelm them with numbers or erase them with exotic weapons, but that wouldn't teach them anything. They just assume we won through unfair advantages. But when we defeat their best ships with our best ships in equal numbers, they'll understand something important. Sarah settled into the captain's chair as the Defiance began moving toward the engagement coordinates. They'll understand that humanity isn't just lucky or tricky. We're actually better. An hour later, the space above the Andromedan homeworld became a battlefield. 12 Kronar heavy cruisers faced 12 Alliance vessels. In the first formal fleet engagement since the Battle of Kepler 442c, it wasn't even close. The human ships moved with precision that the aliens couldn't match, fired weapons that cut through Kronar shields like they were made of paper, and coordinated their attacks with an efficiency that left the enemy fleet in chaos within minutes. When the last Kronar ship surrendered, General Karthok's face appeared on the communication screen again, but this time his expression showed respect instead of arrogance. Admiral Chen, he said formally, the Kronar Empire requests permission to join the Galactic Defense Alliance. Sarah nodded. Permission granted, General. Welcome to the future. As she watched the surviving Kronar ships take formation alongside the Alliance fleet,